Hi all, this is Simona Rich, and in this article I'm going to talk about the Scorpio Ascendant meaning, Scorpio being on the cusp of the first house. Scorpios are very easy to recognize. They have a strong jawbone and penetrating, usually dark eyes. You can feel that there's so much more to them than what they show. There's just so much intensity. They run on emotional energy, though they rarely display their emotions in public. They have high cheekbones and a square face, and a square face is also usual in Leo ascendants. But Leo ascendant males experience baldness later in life, whilst Scorpio ascendants tend to keep their luscious hair. The Scorpio native's hair is usually very long, and this can be seen and this can be seen by looking at the YouTuber Lisa, for example, who is a Scorpio sun. She's over 50, yet the hair is beautiful and plentiful. I believe she could be a double Scorpio, or the moon could be in Scorpio, because the Scorpionic influence is so obvious in her appearance, and she also had 3 children, and due to the accidents that she experienced in life, she was not able to have more, but that shows that she was also very fertile, which is the case with Scorpio people. So this is a typical female Scorpio face. So that's why I have her as an example. This is a screenshot from her video. It's just keep this face in mind. This is the typical Scorpio female face. Another example is Shah Rukh Khan, who is 54 now, yet his hair is gorgeous. So again, Shah Rukh Khan. The nose is Scorpio nose. It's aquiline nose, but you can't see it from the way that if he would turn his head, you would see that his nose is aquiline. His eyes are very intense. Hair is great at the age of 54, and he is actually a double Scorpio. So even in his behavior, he's total Scorpio. So if you want to understand how Scorpio people are, just watch his interviews, watch him. Holy Madison, the former Playboy bunny, is also a Scorpio rising. Her facial features are softened by the Venusian influence in the first house, because she has the planet Venus in the first house. And also her moon is in Libra, moon representing the body, giving her extra beauty and softness. So you might find it difficult if you're not experienced in looking for the planetary types in faces and bodies. You may not see the Scorpionic influence, but I actually I spent some time finding these particular images which show the Scorpionic influence. For example, here you can see the eyes in the shape of the face, that she's a Scorpio rising, and also from the eyes here, from the way that she looks, also that Scorpionic appearance is shown. And here her lips, since she had undergone plastic surgeries, maybe she had also lip fillers, I don't know, but her lips here look a little thinner, and the way that her eyes look and the jawbone, there is definitely Scorpionic influence. In Holy's case, although the Scorpio influence is very much hidden by the sweet appearance, she showed the Scorpionic influence by perfect revenge. She wrote a memoir of her days in the Playboy mansion, the book that I read, which changed the minds of many about who Hugh Hefner really was. So it was a very Scorpio act on her part, and it just shows the power that these people have. One girl from Playboy Mansion had put such a dark mark on the public image of Hugh Hefner, who was a multi-millionaire. Actually, he wasn't as rich, but he started the company that made millions and millions. Also, basically, he was at the end of his life, he was renting his own mansion out. He basically sold the mansion to another person or company, I don't remember, and then he was just living there as a tenant, but very few people know it. Also, Holy Madison loves being a mother, and family is very important to her. This is again very Scorpio. Her being a Playboy bunny is explained by her Venus being in Scorpio too, the sign of sex, and is that's Venus detriment. So it's not a good place for Venus to find itself, and her being in a Playboy bunny is explained by this placement. It takes experience to see the Scorpio influence that's a little hidden by soft aspects, but with practice that's indeed possible. The same can be said about Aishwarya Rai, who has a Scorpio sun, Capricorn moon, and it's told that her ascendant is Libra, but that's not confirmed. It's quite likely though because of her beautiful appearance. So again, here I picked the images that show that Scorpio influence, but in her again it's quite difficult to see. I think as she is advancing in years, that influence is becoming a little more obvious, especially from her nose. If you watch her movies now and of her interviews, and even when she was very young, you can see that Scorpionic influence, but she represents the highest type of Scorpio. It's called the eagle type, and she has that kind of face. But I think that it's possible to tell, even if you don't know about that highest type, that there is definitely a Scorpio influence in the way that she looks. Scorpio natives' actions have a lot of emotional charge, and because of this intensity, they do well in many occupations. They put all their energy into what they do. Scorpio natives either achieve their potential of becoming eagles, which is a spiritual equivalent of the sign, or they degrade to become truly biting scorpions. I came across both, and I know through experience that if they're good, they are really good and usually spiritually advanced. But if they're bad, they can be deadly. If they are the eagle type Scorpios, you really want them to be your friends, as they will be loyal and will fight for you and will help you. They protect their families and usually want to have children. They are very fertile. If they're bad, you really don't want to have them as enemies, as they will bring harm to you. Even for eagle type Scorpios, it's hard to forgive. Not to say this about the Scorpion type. Whilst the eagle type Scorpios have fixed, thoughtful, intense, and mysterious eyes, the Scorpion type ones have eyes that have something sinister about them. So that's the way to tell the type. Scorpio natives often have thin lips that are firmly pressed, one type of Scorpio natives. I will talk a little bit later about another type. This is very obvious in Holy Madison and the YouTuber Lisa. I've already shown pictures of those thin lips. The nose of Scorpio rising natives can be short and broad, straight, and sometimes aquiline, indeed like that of an eagle. So this is again a big difference to the nose of Leo rising individuals. Another example is Demi Moore, who has a heavy Scorpio influence, with the sun being there too. She has 4 planets in Scorpio, 3 of them being personal ones. So again, I found these 3 images illustrating the Scorpio influence, which is a heavy square jawline, especially obvious here, and good hair. Even she's now quite advanced in years, and she still has good hair. And she has thin lips, Scorpio kind of eyes. So she's very Scorpionic. And I also wrote a lot more about the astrological profile of Demi Moore in another article seen here. There's a more passive type of Scorpio too, with a more round face and full lips. This is the feminine type of Scorpio. The lips can look somewhat loose or simply full, but the heaviness of the jawline remains. And we can see the example of Shah Rukh Khan. He's definitely looking Scorpio, but as we can see here, his face is more round, more full around cheeks, especially when he was younger. And the lips, they are not thin, but full lips. So this is the feminine type of Scorpio. And we can see Libra influence in this type. So it's often found, this kind of type, in the first decan Scorpios, which Shah Rukh Khan is, because it's close to Libra, and therefore Libran influence is felt. But this feminine type has usually short stature and slim figure, which is true in his case. His figure is slim, but his stature is not short, it's normal. And I think it's due to his Aquarius moon, because Aquarius gives high stature. Another great example of Scorpio is Cairo. I think it's pronounced Cairo, something like this. What a talented man, a great palm reader, and he knew astrology very well too. And this is an excellent example of a Scorpio person. He has actually 3 personal planets in Scorpio, including the sun, so that's fine. But it's shown that it's not his ascendant. So this is a great example of a Scorpio man. Intense eyes, prominent nose that is straight in this case, lips that are not big. So this is the first type of Scorpio, and this is what I call a true manly type. Nice jawbone, very masculine man. And in these days, so few men in the western part of the world are masculine because of the estrogen diet, because of the so many foods containing estrogen, which is a feminine hormone. The masculine type of Scorpio is not as slim, and the features may be exaggerated. Also, because Scorpio is a strong sign, it's quite easy to recognize any Scorpio influence, no matter how modified by other planets and signs it is. Often Scorpio natives are dark-skinned. I remember in an interview, Shah Rukh Khan complained in a funny way that he is the darkest and shortest of his family members on the male side, which is appropriate for the feminine Scorpio type. Geminis often lack beards or have them weak, but Scorpio men often have thick beards. The bodies are strong and usually very beautifully formed of both men and women. Scorpio natives are very secretive. I remember when Aishwarya Rai was on some beauty panel in Hollywood, and a host told she knew a secret about her. It felt that she would get a heart attack when she heard that, but it was something insignificant and funny to her relief. She absolutely adores having a daughter, Aishwarya Rai, and is happy to be a mother. Family is so important to her. You can see that by how much she respects her parents, and her Instagram photos are often about her family. The same applies to the YouTuber Lisa. Family is of utmost importance to her. She even moved to a place she doesn't really like, but stays there because her family is there. This is totally opposite to how many Sagittarians are, who don't have strong family ties and often live far away from their family and often have nothing to do with their relatives. Scorpio women love being mothers, but some of them can be extremely controlling, not allowing the child to develop as an independent personality. Therefore, children, when they grow up, may end up resenting their Scorpio mothers. They may have weak personalities crushed in the shadow of their mothers. Often the marriage only works out for Scorpio natives if they find partners who are flexible and allow the Scorpio natives to be the ones in charge. Also, if the 7th house of Scorpio natives has malefic influences, marriage is likely to be a disaster. It's the sign of extremes. So, for example, in love, Scorpio natives can be very intense, too intense to some partners. If they are undeveloped, the love will be very lustful with lots of excesses and animalistic nature. The same often applies to people who have Venus in Scorpio. Scorpio natives find it difficult to adapt to new environments and ways of doing things. So in businesses where much innovation always happens and it's crucial to remain flexible, they are very likely to lose. They often have many accidents in life and end up with metals in bodies. Shah Rukh often has surgeries, and the YouTuber Lisa calls herself a bionic woman because she has metal in her body due to the lumbar disc replacement, and I think she also has metal in her knee. So indeed, the ancient Scorpio ruler Mars still holds sway over the sign. These people experience many deaths in one life, which can be literal near-death experiences or spiritual deaths, which can be literal near-death experiences or spiritual deaths and rebirths, which of course makes Pluto a valid ruler of them too. These extreme transformations either make them into highly spiritual and wise beings, or cause them to be very selfish, callous, and totally survival-oriented. Scorpios have the power to endure any kind of difficulty. And if they have Taurus moons, they are going to be so energetic that they will be able to stay active probably until they die of old age. Unlike Aries, their action is slow, but the endurance is great. They don't waste their energies by taking sudden action, but distribute their energies evenly so that the plan is implemented with the same amount of power from the beginning till end. It's a thoughtful sign which takes actions after planning and deliberation. When energy fails as the native ages, he is likely to rely on stimulants. They can suddenly take unexpected action too, but it's less common. They are not only physically but mentally enduring. It's easy to control Scorpio natives by giving the illusion that they are under no control. It's possible to get in control of them through compliments and by appealing to their selfish nature, yet using this to one's own advantage. But if the native senses any form of control, he is likely to rebel or sting. All internal secretions of the body are ruled by Scorpio. It's also told to be responsible for converting nutrients into blood. Bodily corruption and putrefaction are also often caused by this sign being afflicted. It rules sexual organs as well. These natives can live a very long life and often have several near-death experiences. They often survive events that other people don't, and those events change the way that they look at life. Their health usually gets worse if, in their high hormone days, they contract some venereal disease or they don't allow their bodies to detoxify themselves. When they're sick, they can take powerful medicines to drive out the disease. They take exact and intensive actions, tackling disease head-on, rather than delaying the healing or ignoring it, hoping it would go away by itself. They like taking radical measures and often turn to surgery. They also make excellent surgeons, and they often like to handle sharp objects and are excellent at doing that. I remember watching Lisa's video of her trying to do a do-it-yourself eyelash perm, and she so skillfully cut off the ends of the plastic bits she glued on her eyelids. It was scary to watch, as it's a little dangerous to do. But she did it so accurately, and that's a true Scorpio influence. The only illness that's hard for them to fight is an autoimmune disease. Without any Libra or another softening influence, the will of the Scorpio native will be unbendable and they will head straight to their target without considering how this affects others. They always go for what they want and refuse to consider alternatives. It's the most selfish sign of all, even more so than Capricorn, yet sometimes the selfishness is well hidden. Sometimes the natives plan and take steps over a long period of time to get to their objective, but they achieve it eventually. It's very important to pay attention to planetary aspects of a Scorpio native because they will reveal whether this powerful energy is used for good or bad ends. It's very important to check Mars and Pluto placements, ascendant, the Sun and Moon signs, their aspects, and judge accordingly. The best eagle-type Scorpio celebrity that I know of is Aishwarya Rai, who directs her energies for helping disadvantaged children and is an inspiration to watch. She inspires with her work ethic and speeches. Her parents must be absolutely proud of her, and she has no blemish at all on her public face after years of being in the Bollywood industry, which is miraculous. Even her facial features show the eagle type of Scorpio. After 40, usually all the vices will be shown on the face, starting from the age 30, though plastic surgeries can cover that to some extent. Highly developed Scorpio natives will always seek truth behind appearances. Truth, no matter whether offending or not, will be the most important to them. This type of Scorpio is also represented by the clear water frozen into ice. However, the undeveloped Scorpio natives just go after their selfish goals, no matter whether they harm others and even their own selves. They just go after what they want. This is represented by the stagnant, dark, and poisonous water. The Taurus native will spend time pushing obstacles out of his way. Libra will spend a lot of time to figure out how to go around obstacles. Yet Scorpio natives will destroy any obstacle in their way. If the child has the Sun, Moon, or Ascendant Scorpio, parents should never attempt to suppress their sexual desire, their sexual nature in any way. Because if they do, they can, out of rebellion, totally start wasting themselves on sexual activities till the end of their lives. The same goes for religion. If they are forced to believe in some way, out of rebellion they can become total atheists or adopt a religion that parents are against. So it's very important not to attempt to control this native, as she will turn around and sting when it's probably least expected. Also, Scorpio children should never be lied to, as they will find this out. They should be addressed as adults and given reasons of why they are required to do certain things. Otherwise, they will start resenting parents. They should be given activities to release the intense energy that they possess. A lot of care must be given to them to make sure they develop well. Undeveloped Scorpio children often bully others and can be very cruel to other children, so they should be taught to treat others as equals, to share what they possess, and to help others, so that the selfish quality in them isn't allowed to dominate, which it will by default. Scorpio natives rarely change their minds. If it seems that they did, it could be that they always held that opinion, but it became more convenient now to reveal it. It's a fixed sign, so their minds are pretty much unbendable. They have intense personal magnetism. They usually say what they mean, and they are often accused of lacking tact or diplomacy. This is very obvious in the interviews of Shah Rukh. He tends to offend people, and he always tells that his wife and family tell him not to say certain things, but then he goes ahead and says them anyway. I really appreciate his honesty, but yes, he can be rude sometimes. For example, most Bollywood celebrities are quiet about Donald Trump being the president of the US. Yet when asked for his opinion, Shah Rukh Khan said something along the lines of, "I think Americans deserve him." I can only guess he said that because Shah Rukh Khan is a Muslim, so he would be painfully aware of the US interfering in the running of some Islamic lands. Also, Scorpios try to get in control of any group they join, and this is again obvious when Shah Rukh Khan gives interviews with other actors. He often tries to gain control over the group and ends up upsetting people. Scorpio natives make great spies, surgeons, and researchers. They have great patience. It's an introverted sign. They need plenty of time by themselves to recharge. Again, the example would be the YouTuber Lisa, who says she needs time alone to recharge and that she can stay at home always. So sometimes she needs to force herself to go out and socialize. And the same applies to Shah Rukh Khan, who says that when he doesn't work, he's totally quiet and spends time with himself or his youngest son. They are secretive. One of the worst things for them is if their secrets are found out, even insignificant ones. That's a big deal for them. Also, low-developed Scorpios take everything personally, and if they are offended, they can devote their whole energy to destroy the person who offended them. They will relentlessly pursue this goal until the person is destroyed. You can also check where your Pluto and Scorpio are located in your chart. These are the places where you can focus your energy the most. So for example, if your Scorpio is found in midheaven, it means you can exert the most focus on your work and public life, for example. These people often have no difficulty in acquiring wealth for old age, as they are all about self-preservation. So that's all I have for you in this video. I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching or listening. Take care.